Hello students, we have been discussing the order utility analysis. So far we have analyzed the assumptions of order utility analysis, the tools that are used in order utility analysis, which are the indifference curve and the budget line. We also explained the equilibrium of the consumer using these tools. Then we explained price effect and income effect. And in the last class we saw how price effect can be decomposed into income and substitution effects using two methods, that is Svartsky's method and Hicksian method. These two methods are known as cost difference method and compensating variation method. In this class, we are going to study the uses of indifference curve. That is how indifference curve can be used in the field of economics to analyze the effectiveness or desirability of certain policies against others. In this class, we will study the desirability of indirect and direct tax as well as the desirability between direct subsidy and cash subsidy and price subsidy. Okay. So first we will distinguish between direct and indirect tax. Direct tax is a tax which is imposed directly on the base of the tax. That is, a base of a tax is the variable on which the tax is imposed. For example, a tax can be imposed on income, then it is known as income tax, which is a direct tax because the income tax is paid by the person who accumulates the income or who generates the income. Whereas a commodity tax, for example, a sales tax is an indirect tax because a sales tax is imposed on a commodity and it is ultimately paid by the consumer who buys the commodity. So such tax is called an indirect tax. It is hidden in the price of the commodity, so it is known as an indirect tax. Nowadays in India we have GST, therefore we don't have sales tax or excise duty. Otherwise sales tax and excise duties are considered as indirect taxes, but because we have abolished sales tax and excise duties and other few indirect taxes, we only have GST, goods and services tax. So goods and services tax is an example for an indirect tax. This indirect tax can be imposed on commodities as well as services. So the difference between indirect and direct tax are directly imposed on the base of a tax, whereas indirect tax are hidden in the price of the commodity or service on which tax is imposed. And also the ultimate burden, the impact and the ultimate burden, which is called the incidence, are on different persons. In the case of a direct tax, impact and incidence are on the same person, that is the person who earns the income, whereas in the case of an indirect tax, impact and incidence are on different persons, that is impact will be on the retailer, for example, or the producer in the case of an excise duty, but the incidence will be on the final consumer. So this is the difference between direct and indirect tax. Now we will be using the indifference curve analysis to see which of these two taxes, direct and indirect tax, is more desirable or which reduces welfare of the payer by the least amount, by the least measure. We know that imposition of a tax always reduces the welfare of the person on whom the tax is imposed because it reduces his income. That is, if a 10% direct tax is imposed on a person with 100 rupees, then his disposable income falls to 90 rupees and he can purchase commodities and services only worth 90 rupees. This will obviously reduce his income. And indirect tax will also reduce his income because if tax is imposed on a 10% tax is imposed on a commodity whose price is 99, then the price of the final commodity increases. 10% tax is imposed on a commodity with 100 rupees, then the final price of the commodity increases to 110. So again, the welfare of the individual is likely to fall. So here we are going to analyze which of these taxes will reduce welfare by the least amount. Let's see. We are making use of the indifference curve and budget line for this purpose. So this is our familiar diagram in which we measure income on the y-axis and commodity x on the x-axis. We have income on the y-axis and commodity x on the x-axis. Okay, it is quite different from our earlier analysis in which we had commodities on both axes. But here we have income on one axis and commodity x on the other axis. This is our familiar budget line, which we name as BL. This is the budget line which shows the different quantities of two commodities that the consumer can buy by spending all his available income. Now, the consumer will be in equilibrium at point E on this diagram, on this indifference curve IC1, and he will be consuming OX1 of X and spending BM of money. Now he has OX1 of X with him and OM of money with him, which means that he has spent BM of money. His total income is OB, of which BM has been spent on buying this commodity. BM has been spent on buying this commodity, and by spending BM amount of income, he got OX1 amount of commodities or OX1 units of commodities. Now, let's suppose that the government imposes an indirect tax on commodity X. Government imposes an indirect tax on commodity X. We know that when an indirect tax is imposed, it is hidden in the price of the commodity. So, the price of the commodity increases by the amount of the tax. For example, if the government introduces 10% tax on a commodity worth 100 rupees, then the price of the commodity becomes 110. So, imposition of a tax has the effect of increasing the price of the commodity, and we know from our previous analysis that increasing the price of the commodity causes rotation of the budget line to the left. Increasing the price of the commodity causes rotation of the budget line to the left. The new budget line will be BL1. Now, by spending all his income, he can buy only OL1 of commodity X, OL1 of commodity X, because the price of commodity X has increased as the government has increased the rate of taxation on that commodity. Now, obviously the consumer will be at a lower indifference curve IC2, and now he will be buying OX0 of X and he will be spending BT amount of income. BT amount of income. Okay, BT amount of income. So, here we can see that initially the consumer was spending BM amount of income and buying OX1 amount of X, and after imposition of the tax, he is spending BT amount of income and buying OX0. If he still wanted to buy OX1 of X, if after the increase in the price of the commodity, he still wanted to buy OX1 of X, he wanted to maintain consumption at OX1, then what would now be his expenditure on that commodity? Suppose he still wants to buy OX1 of X instead of OX0, which will be his equilibrium. If he wants to buy OX1, then he will be at this point, and this becomes N. So he spends Bn amount of his income on commodity X. Before the imposition of a tax, in order to buy OX1 of X, he had to spend only Bm of his income. Now, after the imposition of a tax, if he still wants to buy X1, then he will be spending Bn of his income. So this Mn is the amount of tax that has been collected from the individual. Mn is the amount of tax that has been collected from the individual by imposing a certain percentage of tax on the commodity X. So Mn is the lost income. Now let's see what happens if the government, instead of imposing an indirect tax, imposes a direct tax on the consumer and collects an equivalent amount Mn. Now the government has to collect an equivalent amount Mn. So we have to measure this Mn, and we see that this is the Mn amount of money, and we call it B2. So BB2 is equivalent to Mn. BB2 is equivalent to Mn. So that direct tax, now the government is imposing a direct tax, and when direct tax is imposed, the budget line will shift parallelly downwards. Here the budget line rotated downwards because it was an increase in price of X, so only the slope of the budget line changed and not the intercept, Y intercept. But here income of the consumer is being reduced, and when income is reduced or increased, the budget line shifts parallelly outwards or inwards. Okay, here because income has been reduced, the budget line shifts parallelly downwards or inwards, and so the new starting point becomes B2. Why we have written means identified this point as the starting point of the budget line? Because we are imposing a direct tax equivalent to the amount Mn, which we raise to an indirect tax. So we have to reduce this income by an amount equivalent to Mn. Here B2 is equal to Mn, so Mn will be the income that will be lost by the consumer after imposition of a direct tax. And here we have N2. So his income has been reduced. By Mn amount. Mn is equal to BP2. Now what will be the consumer's reaction to it? We can see that now the consumer can be on a higher difference curve if he wants, on IC3 if he wants. Okay, so after the imposition of a tax, after the imposition of a direct tax, the consumer was on IC2, but an equivalent amount of income raised through direct tax resulted in the consumer being on a higher difference curve IC3. So obviously a higher indifference curve shows a higher level of satisfaction. We know from the properties of indifference curve that a higher indifference curve shows higher level of satisfaction. You can see that indifference curve IC2 is at a lower location than IC3. So which indifference curve gives more satisfaction to the consumer? Obviously indifference curve IC3. Indifference curve IC3 offers a higher level of satisfaction to the consumer. So the indifference curve IC3 corresponds to the income of the consumer after imposition of a direct tax, and the indifference curve IC2 corresponds to a situation where an indirect tax was imposed on the consumer. So after imposition of an indirect tax, the consumer was on IC2. After imposition of a direct tax, the consumer is on IC3. Which is better? Obviously IC3 is better. So it means that imposition of an equivalent amount of direct and indirect tax has differing effects on the level of satisfaction of the consumer. Though equal amounts of income have been reduced from the kitty of the consumer, actually the consumer will feel better off if it was reduced by direct means than by indirect means. So this is one of the applications of indifference curve, or how indifference curve can be used to analyze the desirability of direct and indirect taxes. Okay, we have seen that direct tax is less welfare reducing than an indirect tax, and therefore it is more desirable to impose a direct tax from the welfare point of view.